Hey guys, it's Abe here, and it's Friday afternoon, so it's time for some lamer than usual lame humor. I was thinking about Gandhi. You know Gandhi, of course, and you may not know there was a period in his life where he roamed the deserts without any shoes on and fasted and that type of thing. So, of course, his feet became very hard and worn. He became very, very thin from all of his fasting. He was on a special diet. A lot of his followers thought that he was a mystic and a visionary. And of course, because of his diet and his fasting, he also had chronic bad breath. So to some people, he actually became known as a supercalloused fragile mystic hexed by halitosis. I'll repeat that for you. A supercalloused fragile mystic hexed by halitosis. If you say that fast, it kind of sounds like a song. Not sure why. I was also reading about a well-known anthropologist that went to study at a remote island in the Pacific where the natives were known to be very aggressive and violent. First day when he found his guide, he heard the drums starting from deep in the forest, and he asked the guide about that, and the guide said, "Drums okay, drums not bad. Bad when drums stop." So they took off, and the second day down the river, they got about halfway to the camp, and the drums started deep within the forest. And of course, he got nervous and asked the guy. The guy said, "Don't worry, drums okay, drums good. Bad when drums stop." So the third day, they were almost to the camp, and the drums were getting really, really loud. They were beating the drums, and then all of a sudden, the drums all stopped while they were halfway there. And the anthropologist got very scared. He looked at the guide and said, What happens now? What happened? The drums have stopped." And the guy doesn't say anything. He just falls down on the ground, puts his hands over his head and his ears, and he goes, guitar solo. Yeah. So it must have been pretty bad. I've been watching, just to change subjects, I've been watching the political parties recently, kind of bantering back and forth, and they're not being very nice to each other. It kind of reminded me of being a kid, and the way kids talk to each other kind of sounded like something like this. "Well, your mom is so dumb she sits on the television and watches the couch." "Oh yeah? Well, your mom is so dumb that she returned the donuts to Krispy Kreme because they had holes in them." "Oh yeah? Well, your mom is so dumb she got hit by a parked car." "Oh yeah? Well, your mom is so dumb she had to stay up all night to study for her blood test." "Oh yeah? Well, your mom is so dumb someone said it was chilly outside and she went in the kitchen to grab a bowl." "Oh yeah? Well, your mom is so ugly she tried to join an ugly contest and they told her, 'Sorry, no professionals.'" "Oh yeah? Well, your mom is so dumb she sold her car for gas money." That's pretty dumb. "Oh yeah? Well, your mom is so old her social security number is 1. Oh, gets you right there. So those are just some of the things that reminded me of. Speaking of dumb, of course, I did a lot of dumb things when I was a kid. I remember anytime I did something really stupid, my dad would just look at my mom like he wanted a refund. Yeah, he did. Of course, I don't think he did. Well, let's get to some headlines. Change of pace here. These are actual headlines that I found that will make you scratch your head a little bit. Here we go. Homicide victims rarely talk to police. I wonder why that is. Teen pregnancy drops off significantly after age 25. That makes sense. From Canada. Canada marijuana issue sent to joint committee. You can't make this stuff up. China may be using the sea to hide its submarines. Where else, right? A nuclear explosion would be a disaster. World Bank says the poor need more money. Really? One-armed man applauds the kindness of strangers. Now, who wrote that? Really? Greenland meteorite may be from space. Well, that's kind of obvious. Woman missing since she got lost. I guess that means before she got lost, she was not missing. Williamsport Associated Press. Prisoner serving 2,000-year sentence could face more time. Come on. Well, that's enough for the headlines. I did want to say that you know it's bad when your jokes are so lame and so bad that your viewers start sending you material to use on air. And I'll have to say that I'm not mentioning any names, Marion, but I'm using these next couple of jokes from a submission that I took in. And it was basically two guys, kind of a husband-wife stuff. Two guys sitting in a bar talking, and the one guy says, "Yeah, my wife is actually psychic, and her abilities are so fine-tuned that most of the time she knows I'm wrong before I even open my mouth." Yeah, that's being psychic. And what did the guy say when he was arrested and told by the arresting officer, "Anything that you say can and will be used against you"? He said, "Yeah, I know, I'm married." So thank you for those submissions there. Speaking of husband and wife, my cousin Ernie and his wife basically decided that finally that they made a final decision they did not want to have any children. And understandably, the kids are pretty upset about that decision, as you would, think. Speaking of kids, here we go. A little bit of lame humor here. Speaking of kids, what should you name your kid if you want them to be a good news reporter when they grow up? What should you name them to be a good news reporter? Justin. News program. That's it. So before we end off, I enjoy Cal humor, as you know. So just a couple of good stories I wanted to end off with. Cal was telling their family history, and she was going through, they probably ordered Ancestry.com or something, but she was telling the rest of the family, your grandfather was a member of the Round Table, a Knight of the Round Table. He was Sir Loin. Sir Loin was your grandfather's name. And to end off for today, what did the mother cow say to the baby cow when it was time to go to sleep? It's past your bedtime. Past your bedtime. It's past your bedtime. Well, that's as lame as it can get. Hope you guys have a great weekend. We'll see you soon.